you know. All right. So what's up, guys? We are just getting started here. We've got some of our speakers here. We got Rocky and Alex Strange here, and we're going to start in just a few minutes. This is going to go like really quickly. We have 8 speakers going back to back to back to back to back to back. Lisa, thank you for using the chat in the bottom right or in the top left or top right, whatever it is for you. And we got Charles coming in, and I'm excited. So, hey, what's up, Charles?
Hey, what's happening? Actually, let me put my AirPods in.
Yeah. Okay, we got Kim here. Kim, where are you from? Wait, is that KPB? What? Who is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, just a couple of old guys talking shit for the next 2 hours. All right, we got Willie Mack here. Willie, what's up? Thank you for coming. We had about 88 people register for this, which is really exciting. So hopefully more than a couple show up. And we just want to thank you guys for being here. And then I'll start the intro in just a few minutes. Oh, it is KPB. What's up? Yeah. Nice. Amazing.
What's up,
wow, from New Orleans. How about that? Okay, we got Rob Morton in here. Thank you guys for coming on so early. This is great. Hello. Okay, you sound good. You look good. Looks like this is all going to plan. And so I'm going to just do a quick introduction and then hand it off to you, Alex. Is that cool?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Welcome to Mistakes. Well, let me just start that over again. Welcome. Yeah. Real cool, guys. I'm going to mute you guys.
We're working live here, man.
Yeah. Thank you for mistakes have already been made. So how about that? Okay, I'm going to mute you guys and then do my intro. Don't fuck this up for me. We've got Zane Harris is here. Wow. Okay, welcome to Mistakes Were Made. I'm Jason Littrell. For the next couple hours, we're going to be creating a judgment-free zone where we laugh at our failures, share what we learned the hard way, and celebrate the disasters that actually taught us something. So the best stories didn't come from smooth sailing. They came from the moments when everything fell apart. So tonight, we've got 8 speakers from across hospitality. We've got bartenders, owners, brand reps, all here to share what happened when things went sideways. So if you're watching with your crew, tag them. If you've got a story if you got a story that you want to share, drop it in the chat. Now, let's build this moment together. Now, we've got a live chat on the top right of your screen, or if it's on your phone, it may be on the bottom right. So use that chat. We want to know where you're from, who's listening, who's out there, and let's get in there. But before we announce the first speaker, I just want to say that this event is in solidarity with the tens of thousands of grown men and women who are terrified to go outside, let alone work, and who are being detained, arrested, and killed without due process of law. So with the heavy part over, so fuck ICE, fuck the KKK, fuck a fascist USA. All right, that's my big public service announcement. All right, so the first speaker is, let's see here. We got Ben Potts here. Ben, where are you at? Ben isn't here yet. All right, okay, so we're going to skip straight to Alex Strange. Alex is the bar manager from Holiday Cocktail Lounge, and his talk is called The Day You Learn Your Place. Alex is a bar manager who learns some of the hard lessons about ambition, pride, and knowing your place. Alex, you want to take it away?
All right. Okay. Hi guys. Thanks for coming in and listening to us all air our dirty laundry. I'm gonna take us all the way back to 2004. I had just started a job I'd moved back to the city from school, and I started a job as a barback at a pretty well-known nightclub in the meatpacking district in the 20s, completely by accident, and ended up getting orbitally dropped into a spot that was populated by some of the greatest names that we know at this point in our career. I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus right away, but if you have questions, definitely ask. But long story short, we're there. I'd been there about 6 months, and so just doing my job as a barback, learning the ropes, and just hustling everywhere. And fast-paced nightclub environment, you're running on all cylinders all the time. And I am as green can be. I'm just kind of running my way through the barricades, trying to figure everything out under extremely demanding conditions. And so one night we are packed to the gills, and keep in mind we have the nightclub itself is on the 5th floor, and we also have the rooftop. So I'm on the 5th floor, I run behind the bar. I ask my boss, hey, what do you need me to do? And he looks at me in the middle of the weeds and says, run upstairs and give them whatever they need. So I say, got it, verbatim. So I run upstairs, go behind this little satellite bar. There's supposed to be 2 bartenders. There's only 1 there. So we have no idea where this guy's backup is. And I look at this guy and I say, hey, Will, I was told to come up here and give you guys whatever you need. And he looks at me dead in the face and says, I need drinks. So I took that very, very literally. And so I immediately stepped behind a well and started serving people. And keep in mind, we're not doing fancy cocktails or anything like that. It's just 1-in-1s, vodka sodas, what have you. So I just start bartending. And it's the first time I've ever made drinks for people in my life. So as this is going on, I'm on cloud 9. I'm having the time of my life. I'm flirting. I'm doing all this stuff. It was the first time I actually felt like, that rock star that we all wanted to be back then. And so as this is going on, it keeps going on. And I look at my phone, and I realize that I have been upstairs for an hour and a half just bartending. And if you can call it that. And so I immediately realized that I'm absolutely screwed. I'm in an infinite amount of trouble. And so I cautiously walk back downstairs like I'm still doing my job and being responsible. And say what you want about toxic work environments. Again, it was 2004, so there was a lot going on. But I go up to my boss and I say, hey, do you guys need anything? I immediately get a whip around, grabbed by the collar of my V-neck shirt and kind of aggressively pushed up against the back bar and chewed out like it was my first day at Marine basic training. And so the response I received for this was just a whole lot of expletives. Where were you? What's going on? All of this kind of stuff. And so I am told to verbatim, and I will never forget this as long as I live, go downstairs, get me a bottle of Brugal, and if you're not back in 30 seconds, I'm going to fire you for being drunk on the job. Now, keep in mind, I had no idea what it was to rip a shot behind the bar or anything of that sort. I just thought I was supposed to be doing a job. Now, keep in mind that the liquor room is a 3-story staircase down. So obviously this is an untenable request, but I did manage to jump down 3 flights of stairs, come back up winded as hell, and the rest of the night just went on. So needless to say, I did not last too much longer at this place, not by choice or by wrongdoing. It just didn't work out. And so once I left there, I moved back to DC briefly and just kind of reevaluating my track record in life and what I wanted to do, and still keeping up with, bartenders and people in the industry in the city while I was there. And I realized, like, I don't want this to be the last impression that these people have of me, is just being a kid that kind of screws around and doesn't take anything seriously, because I wanted to achieve that level of, skill and receive that level of respect. And I guess the moral of this whole story is kind of not overstepping, and also what we do for a living kind of only works when everybody is in their specific place doing exactly what they need to be doing, like almost like a fire team. Like, one guy carries the med packs, one guy carries the C4, one guy has the radio. They only succeed when everybody is in their place. And, coming back to the city and starting kind of fresh to work in this industry again, that was absolutely my priority, was to make sure that I would be the set it and forget it person, and that no matter where you slot me, I'm going to do exactly that job and a little bit more if I can. So that's a little bit about that. And it also taught me at the same time, don't treat people who work under you that way. So I do think about that a lot, where it's like, yeah, I could snap, but you don't want to, think ahead. So
okay, so you're are you carrying C4 right now?
No.
Okay, but have you actually handled C4 before? Because that's
oh god,
crazy. Okay,
god, no.
okay.
One can dream.
Okay. If you guys have any thoughts, questions, or ideas, throw them in the chat, and then Alex can get back to you either if we have time right now, or we'll get back to you a little bit later. Thank you so much for the story, Alex. You were the very first speaker of the very first mistakes were made ever, and I very much appreciate you telling the story. Thank you.
Awesome. No worries, man. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be in the room with everybody.
Okay. All right. Our next speaker was from we first met during bartender boxing. And he was one of the few that actually completed the actual 12-week program and actually did all this stuff and became this monster of a monster in the ring, and now runs Unfiltered Hospitality, where he's doing amazing things. So if you haven't seen his website, go check his website out. You're going to get tons of links to all this stuff. But please welcome to the stage, Mr. Ben Potts.
Thank you so much, Jason. Actually, before I jumped on this call, I looked at my bartender boxing trophy and belt. I did, in fact, win my match, or both of my matchups, so that was pretty good. I have an official amateur boxing record of 2-0. So I quit while I was ahead, but it was a fantastic program. So
undefeated, love it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was thinking about this a lot lately because I think about it. I think about this problem that I had it'll be about 7 years ago. This mistake that I made, I'm reminded of this mistake almost every time I go to my bar. And it's a great lesson. So what happened was this is my second venue opening. I opened a restaurant in Miami about 10 years ago, a little over, called Beaker and Gray. Fairly popular restaurant, great beverage program, and we decided to expand. We expanded to a bar down the street. The people that owned it were going out of business. They didn't pay their liquor bills, and so we were like, all right, well, we can open a bar. And so about $1 million and 12 months later, and $1 million is a very low estimate to get this place open. And keep in mind, this was a second generation property and a bar back when liquor licenses were not that expensive in Miami. We opened in October of 2018. I remember looking at my sales report. This would have been roughly December of that year. And I looked at my annual sale or my weekly sales. This is a 200-person venue in the heart of Miami during high season. We barely hit $15,000 for the week. For some quick math, spending $1 million in 12 months to get a place open to do $15,000 a week in sales during the high season in Miami is absolutely horrendous. So that was the mistake. Now, how we got to that mistake. The previous 12 months were this is what happens when an amateur tries to design a high volume cocktail bar but doesn't take into consideration anything. They don't take into consideration their history, the guests that they want, what will actually resonate with people. So what we designed was effectively like a Soviet-era tank. It was all black. Almost everything was either plastic or dark wood or fake leather. It had absolutely no personality, nothing on the wall, because I didn't want anything to get fucked up when we had too many people in there. And that was a huge mistake because after the first night where we had open bar for 6 hours straight, I thought, wow, we've got a hit. This is going to be incredible. We got this. Then slowly people would come in and they wanted to check out Boombox. They wanted to see what this place was all about. And of course, what they found was the most boring, lame, soulless property they've ever been to in their life. It was not a bar. It was a box. It was a black box of doom, Doombox. It was horrible. And, we kept trying everything. We tried everything in our power to make this place work. We gave away drinks. We ran promotions. I dressed up like a beer bottle. Like I would do anything to get people in there, and absolutely nothing worked. And I realized, and I told my business partners, guys, I think we made a mistake. And $15,000 a week in season is a huge mistake. So what did we do about it? We recognized we had to get very humble at that point. Beaker was a very big success, but Boombox was not. And Jason, by the way, I was building Boombox while I was doing bartender boxing. So that was a huge benefit that I was doing that, because I was absolutely miserable during the entire process. So we went back and we thought about, okay, who are we really? And I'm a native Miamian for those of you who don't know me. Born and raised here, absolutely love everything about Miami. I think Miami's an incredible place, and I love hospitality in Miami. When I was a kid, the best thing we had was Tony Roma's, and I've seen this city go from Tony Roma's on Saturday night to world-class cuisine from everywhere on the planet. And so I wanted to really showcase what Miami had to offer. And so we thought about ourselves, what was true to us, what was true for our guests, what they cared about. And we wanted to attract people who loved Miami. So what we did was we decided to build a place for Miami. It was a huge risk. We decided that December that we were going to shut down that March, only 2 months after we'd been open, completely reconcept. We closed down the bar, and we took about 45 days to get it reopened. We reopened April of 2019, about a year before we had to close again. And we reopened as the Sylvester. The Sylvester is a fairly well-known cocktail bar now. And I am very proud to say that, a $15,000 single night is a pretty good night, but we've really turned it around. And what I learned from all of this is really don't just try to build things because you think like you're just going for the money, or you're just going for like trying to maximize how much volume you can do in a particular space. Really think about what matters to you, like what really speaks to you and speaks to the people that you want to serve. And if you do that, hopefully you won't make any more mistakes.
Okay, well, I don't know about you, but I'm not done with my mistakes. I have several in the chamber right now.
Or at least you'll make fewer mistakes.
Oh, so that's crazy. I didn't know you were doing bartender boxing while you're trying to open up a bar at the same time. I was a little self-involved in those days. What am I talking about those days? But that sounds like insanity. I don't know how you can actually do anything meaningful while you're training for boxing, and then also prevail in the ring, which is also impossible. All right, so John says keep on mistaking. Speaking of mistakes, John Garda, please get out of that link, and then use the link that's in your email. It's got a bunch of numbers behind it, and that's the one that we want. Ben Potts, thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. In a couple minutes, we have Rob Morton on deck, but before, I just wanted to get a temperature on what you guys are thinking about this event, about these stories. Type in the chat. Let us know what you guys are doing, where you guys are, where you're at. We're a little ahead of schedule. And so Sean says that Sylvester is amazing. I'm sure it is. I also don't know how do you just like up and rebrand a bar, like without breaking everything. Yeah, no, I've done that before too, where you open up a bar that you're like, this should be a success, this should be a winner, and then you're like, then everybody says no, or worse, they say nothing at all.
Yeah, it's not fun.
All right, so Naomi agrees. Naomi, where are you at in the world? Sean did a pop-up with Bacardi, and the whole team was amazing to work with at the Sylvester. Okay, well, that's good.
Thanks, Sean. Come back soon.
So that's still in your world of bars?
The Sylvester? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I go there every week. Oh, the reason that there is a reminder, I still have the Boombox sign. Like, we had a big neon sign that said Boombox that it could go up and down, and it's still like kind of up in the ceiling, so I see it every time I go in.
Huh, that's too bad. Sorry, Alex Strange, you don't get to blow up this bar. with your C4, that I know that you're carrying on you right now. Okay, Doombox. That's so funny. KPB says that should be the name of a goth bar, Doombox. Okay, Rob, you ready to go? Okay, so next up we've got Rob Morton. He's the owner of Paul's Oak Island in, my God, I always get my Carolinas mixed up. I'm sure you're going to clear this up for us. North Carolina. You're North Carolina. So he's an owner, and he's going to talk a little bit about what happened when he had a little bit of regime change at his bar. Rob, if you're ready to go, take it away.
I am. So Paul's of Oak Island is my fourth build out. We've been open for 3.5 years right now. It's my fourth build out. I come from New York City in bar ownership. Started in 2010, where I opened up Idle Hands in the Lower East Side, followed by Fool's Gold, which is still open. Worked with Jason in the past. Decided to leave the city, come back down. And one thing I've never hired through all of my build outs was a general manager. So I decided to change that in this one. So general manager comes down. They are with us for 3 years total, 1.5 years prior to open, 1.5 years after open. GM, and this all comes into play later. The benefit package for this GM was $70,000 a year, free room and board in a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house where they had no roommates, utilities included, paid vacation, ate and drank at the bar for free. So the only expenses this person had would be their car and internet. Everything, we opened the bar, we trained staff, we do all this. Like I said, this has been 3 years. After about 1.5 years, November of 2023, they accept another job and they give me 3 weeks notice, which is fine. There were things already happening the things that I wanted to change. So they give me 3 weeks notice. After about 1.5 weeks, they completely admit that they're having a very hard time not phoning it in, their words. At this point, I had already transferred all the important responsibilities to myself and to Cindy. I had a plan once they were gone already, and I didn't need 3 weeks to start enacting that, so I was chomping at the bit to move on. At that point, they were just a burden on my payroll. So once I found out this information, I made the decision to cut them after 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I was like, you take the final week. I didn't give them a timeline to leave the house or anything like that. I was like, take a week to go hang out with your friends, say your proper goodbyes. But apparently this was a kick in the gut to this person, that I wasn't going to pay them for their going away tour, which at this point, that's what it was. And they then informed me that they could not afford to stay. Like, they had to leave a week early. So that is what it is. At that point, this person decided to go scorched earth, and I mean scorched earth, trying to burn bridges left and right, go to investors, besmirch my name in both NYC and Lisa, both NYC and NC, and understand that, what happened next kind of did my job for me. A clique was already forming. I already saw this, and anytime I had said that this was becoming problematic, I would, being gaslit, kicking back, telling me that I didn't know what I was talking about. So this person left, tried to besmirch my name. The majority of this clique left with them. Like I said, this took care of that other step of having to sort of clean house. So what I decided after that was I completely got rid of the GM role. Got rid of the GM role. Sorry, I'm losing my place. Got rid of the GM role, switched all of my floor managers over to shift supervisors. So what that means is instead of just having somebody on the floor, my shift supervisors are behind the bar. They're serving tables. That way they get to make more money. They're making tips. They're active. They're not just sitting at the bar, and taking care of things. And they're not just dictating what has to happen. They are actively going and doing the things that need to be happening. So get rid of the GM, move everything over to shift supervisor. Also, this person was running my beer program. And this person is known for having craft beer knowledge. Quite a bit. Great, very knowledgeable person. It doesn't work in Oak Island, North Carolina. So for the longest time, we had 24 taps. We still have 24 taps, but that was one cocktail on tap, one whiskey on tap, two wines, but 5 macro lines that stayed static, and then 15 rotating craft beer lines, which meant that our beer and wine prices or product was running at about 18%, which we all know is too much. John, can you mute your microphone? Oh, there we go. Is about 18%, which is way too much. So I went from 5 static lines of macro to 20 static lines. We kept some craft beer on, but we took all of the 15 rotating beers off, went all static, and we went to an English Premier League or English Football League style of relegation promotion. So twice a year, I look at my beer sales. The 3 bottom earners I pull off, and we promote 3 beers up that we think are going to work out better. So that started in Q4 of 2023 into Q1 of 2024. Following so far? I'm jumping all over the place a little bit. In Q1 of 2024, I spent $200 more than I did in Q1 of 2023 on beer because I was bringing in more product to make this switch over. But going to 15 static lines meant that I was going to cut down on inventory time. I was going to cut down on storage. I was going to cut down on everything because your product, you're not bringing in specialty kegs. So I spend the rest of Q4 of 2023 and a portion of Q1 2024 going through all of the product that was just sitting around, the kegs that were being held for special occasions, stuff like that. So what this did is that in Q1 of 2024, I also lowered the prices of 80% of our beers to put us more in line with those bars that are around us. So Q1 of 2024, I sold 1,500 more units of beer than I did in Q1 of 2023. I spent $200 more dollars. I only made $1,500 more dollars because I had lowered the prices, but my food sales went up by $42,000. I am a beach bar in Oak Island, North Carolina, as far as southeast as you can go. December, January, and February are my 3 slowest months. So to be able to up my food sales by $42,000 in my slowest quarter, kind of a big deal. So this trend continued through the entire year, making these changes, making these management changes, cleaning house, bringing on new staff, meant that I reduced payroll by 32%. My beer and wine went from an 18% cost to a 12% cost. I also redid the wine program, where all of our wines, 4 white, 4 reds, $8 bottle maximum cost, which meant that across the board, my wine program, which is still to this day, $8 for a glass, $32 for a bottle. So everything's extremely approachable. So like I said, this trend started with a $42,000 uptick in Q1 that continued for the entire year, which at the end of 2024, I had increased sales by $500,000, going from $1.25 million to $1.75 million. That continued through 2025. Now, for management, I now have 10 managers out of a staff of 35. We do quarterly one-on-ones with our staff members. So our staff has full access to both Cindy and myself. This has resulted in a checks and balances that works across the board for everybody. Open communication. Management team and staff have a more sense of purpose and that their opinions matter because they do have a direct line to Cindy and I. Our Discord server, which is where we do all of our communication, we have a very robust Discord server, including a vacation bot to where when you go in and you follow the prompts, it'll tell you right then if your vacation's approved or denied. We've already front-loaded it well of all of our blackout dates. It automatically starts denying if too many people ask off at the same time. So our staff know that they have open access to information. They have open access to us. And so very rarely do Cindy and I have to ever get involved with anything, involved with disputes, nor do we have to beg somebody to come in and do coverage because with the Discord, they feel invested. They're coming in and they're like taking over shifts before we even have to get involved. After these cliques left and the beer program changed, all of that, regulars started coming back. Old staff members who had left because of the clique, they started coming back as well. So I don't think I'll ever hire another GM for any of my bars. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong thing for me to do.
Way to let Lisa down gently. Thank you very much for that. She was like, she was in the comments looking for a job, and it looks like, sorry, Strange, you don't get to blow up this bar either. Ben, we may have somebody for you to box, but I gotta ask you some tough questions though, because like, where was the mistake? Was it in hiring a person? Was it hiring the wrong person, or not knowing that you didn't need a person?
The hiring of the GM. It was changing my philosophy in bar number 4 of things that I already knew worked in ways, and just expanding on what I already knew, and what I already like. And so, giving up that much control over personnel, over beer, was a mistake, because this is the first bar where it is me. All of my investors are silent, so like everything comes from me, and so to give up a portion of that was the mistake. It's also, this was going to be the first bar where I was also taking over the beer program. Idle Hands and Fool's Gold, those beer programs were run by partners, and both were craft heavy, as we know. I personally think that not having a decent macro program costs tens of thousands of dollars per year for those that just want to come in and drink a Bud or a Bud Light or a Mick Ultra. And it goes to thoughts that I've had about certain bars in Manhattan that Jason worked at that had problems serving vodka sodas.
I was phoning it in too. Just want to throw that out there. Well, I got you. While you're a couple thousand miles away. All right. So Lisa's asking if did you maintain control over all the ordering, or did the floor managers take on that role too?
No, I now have control of all. Well, I always had liquor ordering and cocktail creation, but I now have control of all beer ordering, all liquor ordering, all wine ordering.
Okay, so the Discord server does it? Got it. That is the sexiest thing I've ever heard of, by the way. Your Discord server, you like AI'd it up and just trained it up, and you're like, okay, you're going to run my bar now? That's the sexiest thing I've ever heard. I'm a fucking nerd, and like,
oh, yeah.
That's like music to my ears.
Cool. I hate group text messages.
Okay, just 2 more things before we cut you off here. It appears that you have. I'm going to interpret this one way. So KPB says me too. I'm going to interpret that as you've been canceled. So I'm sorry. It's possible that she was agreeing with something that you said, but she said me too. So I'm guessing you're canceled. Sorry.
No, actually, I think that was referring to the English Premier League or the English Football League comment about relegation promotion.
Okay, well, we could agree to disagree on that. Sorry, just being silly. Okay, so thank you so much, Rob. That has been a delightful presentation. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Our next presenter is a great friend. He used to run bars at the highest level. At the Bettany is the one that comes to mind. It's one of the best in the world. Ran their beverage program, ran the floor, ran all the stuff, and won every award that is winnable, and now he owns a brand called Rocky's Liqueur. So thank you so much for your support of this show. If you don't have Rocky's, then you need to have it. It's kind of like ketchup. It's like the bartender's ketchup. Anyways, so Rocky, you take it away. Let's see if you're muted. I'm going to unmute you there, and you're live.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding. Thank you for the kind words, Jason. I'm so honored and thrilled to be here. The respect and love is mutual. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect in terms of the lineup here. And it's pretty damn cool to have a genuine respect, love, and affection for every single face I see on this screen. It's pretty damn cool. It's been way too long since I've hung out with some of you guys. That last place you mentioned, Bettany, I had the pleasure of opening that spot with Charles, who's coming up, one of the greatest public speakers and one-on-one speakers as well, storytellers that I've ever met. John's such an incredible community builder, doing great things for the industry. Alex Strange puts on the best show ever at Holiday. Anybody who's in the East Village. Rob, I haven't seen you in forever, dude. It's been way too long, but I'm so excited to be on this. And Ben Potts, man, the Sylvester is one of my favorite bars in the world, and I promise you I'll be darkening your doorway soon in Miami. I guarantee it. So without further ado, I'll get on to how I've screwed my life up. I went from being a very overconfident bar and restaurant operator, generally playing with other people's money and feeling just fine about it for for many years, and then started making, as Jason mentioned, making my own spirit as a labor of love, and taking every penny that I had access to, many of which I did not own, and putting them into this brand and feeling really, again, overconfident about it. I talked to my peers, and people who were founders and very successful founders of spirits, prior to launching the brand, and felt like I've got this, right? I've opened a bar. I know how cocktails work. I know how to make drinks. I cooked for a long time, so I know how to make stuff, right? And moving into this new area of our industry, I carried that confidence, and it was the first time I was playing with my own cash, and again bringing in cash from other people, friends and family. And despite people telling me, listen, start small, put the product into the world, collect feedback, figure out what you're doing wrong, make adjustments, both small and large, as you go, and then scale geographically, right? Organically, geographically, as your concept proves out as being desirable and interesting and beautiful, all these things, useful, relevant. And I heard this feedback, and I thought to myself, they don't know what I know. They don't see what I see, and they don't have the resources and experience that I have. So they're just they're not as good. They're not as qualified as I am to make these decisions. And the one that I come back to, though there are many, many, many errors that fall into this category, the one I come back to frequently is I launched California and New York and Florida and New Jersey the same day for a spirit that nobody had ever heard about, nobody cared about, and to be frank, nobody needs, right? The world has spun around the sun, and many people, many generations have come and gone without this product. Although I love this product and I think the world is a better place for it, the world does not need it. And so launching literally on both coasts, and both north and south, all the exact same day as a one-man band, self-funded, I was convinced that I would put this thing on Instagram, and I would call my friends up in Miami and Los Angeles and San Francisco and Hoboken, and everybody would be like, oh man, send me all that you got, baby, right? And I would just blow this business up, and I would sell out and become an instant overnight success. And the joke's on me, because that was complete fiction, and it was complete fabrication in my own mind. And what I should have done is listen to the founders that had actively tried to warn me of this hubris, and to cultivate relationships locally, and listen to people's feedback, and make adjustments to the package, which was severely flawed when I launched, because I designed it myself. And what do I know about design, right? So I should have listened to all these people that were trying to help me, because they cared about me, and because they were trying to steer me from the decisions that they also probably made incorrectly. But, after 7 or 8 months, probably close to a year maybe, of being on market and spending a bunch of time and money and emotional capital flying to Miami to wine and dine bar owners that are being daily assaulted with offers of the next delicious thing by people who live locally, right? By people who are not going to fly back to New York, where I live, right? By flying to Los Angeles, flying to Miami, spending time in South Jersey, where there's a tremendous amount of opportunity if you position yourself right, and seeing almost zero gains from it, almost zero return on investment from it. I heard the echoes of people saying to me, don't overextend yourself, dig deep, not wide, start small, and refine your concept. I started hearing the echoes of their voices in my mind, and I was like, I need to recalibrate. And luckily, I was able to keep the business afloat after burning all the cash I had, which wasn't much, but it was everything I had. and applied the money that I was able to scrape together to a much better package, to building, again, deeper relationships with people that I had constant contact with and constant access to. And now, 5-6 years later, I have a brand that is now recognizable, does have, consumer appeal in stores, and does have bartender utilization. Some of the folks on this call have been great supporters, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. And it's because I thankfully, caught my mistake before it was too late, saved the business from going under. But man, I would be in a different place now